This is going to be a quick video covering our test corrections over rp.3, which we just took last week. So here we have number 1, number 2, number 3. Number 1, you were given a rate. Okay, you just had to find that rate using your proportion setup. 552 times 8. They gave you 4,416 miles. Number 2, I know this one was tricky. You have 2 eggs and 1.5 cups of milk to make 8 pancakes. But if you just set up your proportion just for the eggs, so if you had 2 eggs for 8 pancakes, how many eggs would it take for 20 pancakes? That would just give you 5. So 5 eggs, there's only one answer with 5 eggs in it, and that's B. Number 3, an hour-long television. Hour is 60 minutes. So if you set up your percent proportion, because it's asking you for a percentage, then it's 42 divided by 60 equals n over 100. However, the question asks you how much percent is set aside for those commercials. So the main program is 42%, which is 70%. However, the time for the commercials is only 30%. So your answer is B. Number 4, the sale on roses is 15% less than the regular price. So basically, if you apply the 15%, 15% of $15 is $2.25. So all you have to do is subtract $2.25 from 15. So basically, $12.75 was how much the roses were on sale for. Number 5, this question, 60 students attended. Therefore, 40 did not. So therefore, if you take 40% of 25 students, you get 10 students. Number 6, this is a percent of change. So if you take 3 minus 2, which is 1, 1 divided by 2, because 2 is your original number, that's 50%. And number 7, again, you have a percent of change. So when you subtract them, you get 28. However, 70 was the original price, guys. 70 was the original price, so that's the number that you're dividing by. When you do that, you get 40%. The population, so when you subtract, you get 5,000, and then you divide it by the original population back in 2000. Okay, so that was your first population. So when you divide that, you get 0.2, and then turn that into a percent. That's 20%. Number 9, you were supposed to model how to find the simple interest. Okay, not explain, just model. So PRT, once you multiply things, I know people were making the mistake of not putting that percent in their calculator, and they got a bigger number than what they should have. So you end up getting 12,600. Now, guys, this is the amount. This is the interest amount. That's not including the amount that you borrowed. Okay, so if you borrowed $14,000, you would have to pay back the $14,000 that you owed or that you borrowed, as well as the $12,600 of the interest that accumulated over those 5 years of having that loan in the first place. Okay, so B was asking you for that amount. B was asking you what's the total amount that you would have had to pay back if you borrowed $14,000 in the first place, but then the interest over the 5 years was $12,600. You had to add those two together to figure out your actual price. All right, number 10, you're given I in this case because it says 224 is the simple interest. So once you use the formula, you're going to plug in the interest and the P and the T. You leave R alone. So once you multiply 700 times 8, you get 5,600. 224 divided by 5,600 is 0.04, but remember, this is a rate. Rate is normally written as a percent. If you left your answer as a decimal, I still gave you credit, okay? So just remember that in the future, though, that your rate in dealing with money and simple interest like this should be left in a form of a percent. So therefore, it's a 4% interest. Last problem. Many of you did a very good job in finding the subtotal for all of the items. However, there was about 2 or 3 mistakes in noticing about the 3 sodas and the 2 fried ice creams, and various people had problems adding. However, once we get to subtotal, the subtotal, you found the 10% of that. Once you found 10% of the subtotal, then you subtract and you find your new total. Some people got this part mixed up. Once you find 6% of your subtotal, okay, that was $1.19 and then 88 were the numbers following, so I rounded up to $1.20. That $1.20 is what you write in as your tax, because that is your tax. Okay, that's what the ticket wants to know. It doesn't want to know how much tax is added onto the bill. No, tax does not come into the total bill until the end. So we need to put $1.20 there. Now remember, I taught you guys 18% of the tip. That gets applied to the subtotal, okay? So therefore, 18% of $22.20 is $3.99, but with that 6, make it round up to $4. Now, that's the tip, okay? We're not adding or subtracting yet. So you just put the tax or the tip rate in there. Now, once we're ready to find the total paid, you add up the total, the tax, and the tip to figure out how much money you actually ended up spending. And you get $25.18.